In the beginning, there was the heaven and the earth, and the Lord said, "Let there be light." And blammo, there it was.
By gyromancy.
Okay, I've been muted on Twitch. Awesome. Hi, everybody. So you're just gonna see random things out of context. Ooh, stuff happens out of context. Now Mini Brave is here. Madness. Okay, so you can hear me now?
Yep, all good.
Okay. So I was just explaining that I worked on the camera, so it should be able to do a little bit of autofocusing now and get some of the details of the models better. Should be less grainy. It's running through a whole thing though, so it might buffer periodically. But I think that's preferable. Anyway, I figured we would finish the Space Marine thing that I started last time, and maybe do the Ballistus Dreadnought. That's one of the new ones for the Primaris Marines. These guys are basically walking tanks. And the Ballistus one is very upgunned. Like, some Dreadnoughts are equipped for, like, siege, so they've got close combat implements, but this one's just pure shootiness. And yes, in Warhammer, shooty is an adjective. You'll hear choppy and shooty. Thank the orcs for the vernacular there. So, last time we clipped out, these are the Stern Guard veterans. Last time we started clipping this fella out.
Shooty. No relation to shoot do.
Yeah, just a little. The orcs are, give 40k a lot of flavor, so it's not surprising that they are responsible for some of the lingo. Make sure I got all the right parts, because this... Okay, that's what I'm missing. This plate goes on first. So where's my knife? Knife. Who touched my knife?
That's not a knife. That's a knife.
Tourmaline, have you ever once said that in your life? It would make me so happy if you've ever said that at least once.
No, unfortunately not.
Oh. What I'd like to see someone go to like an anime convention and find somebody who's like cosplaying as Cloud with a Buster Sword and say that. That would make me happy. Where is my knife? I just barely had it. I know I just barely had it. Come on. Oh, it's in my lap. The natural place one wants a knife. It's okay. Has a safety cap. Always keep the safety cap on, kids.
Yeah.
So, generally what I do when I clip these off, the first thing I do is clean them. There's lots of little bits that, see if I can move this a tiny bit further this way so I don't have to lean as far. There we go. So generally the first thing you want to do is clean the little bits off where you clip it. You can do that later, because sometimes these things get covered up and you never know. But I prefer to do it as I cut them.
Yeah, because otherwise the pieces will look wonky when you try to stick them together.
You could get gaps that way if there are any bumps in the wrong places as well. So that's always a concern. So I was figuring now that I got a better camera, I could also do a little more show and tell if any of you are curious about any of the models or the factions. I've got a fair amount on display. In fact, I was recently dusting my Dark Eldar stuff, And so I've got some of their flyers out. And I'm really proud of how those turned out. So I could show those off if you're curious. And then on screen, I've been playing Raphael the Raven's Castle. And my only regret is that Ren's not here to see more bird shenanigans. Because the Ravens are just as silly as almost as silly as the Goonies. Maybe not just as silly. They're almost as silly as the Goonies.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
So if you didn't see what I was doing, generally when you glue pieces together, come on. There we go. Generally when you glue pieces together, I like to put the glue on like the female parts of the connectors if it's like a push fit. Sometimes the surfaces are flat and it doesn't really matter, but other times it's other times they've got like pegs sticking out and little sockets you can put stuff in. And so it's generally better to put the glue on the female part. It's less likely to overflow, I've noticed, because it kind of settles down into the recess a tiny bit. And one of the things I thought about doing on stream, I might do it, I might not, depends on how confident I'm feeling, was one of the guys, I wanted to saw their torso off and replace it with this 3D printed one. The Blood Angels sometimes have these cool sculpted armor plates that look like torsos, and this one's like a torso with filigree. Autofocus is working, just takes a sec. That's a good thing. But that's ambitious. When you saw something on, when you start sawing things in half to replace big components, that if that goes wrong, you just ruin the model. So that does take a little focus. So how are you guys doing today?
Yeah, pretty good.
I'm doing okay. I'm just waiting for...
My food has arrived. I'll be back.
Okay.
And I need to check on my food as well.
Better be back. Wait a minute, your food's already here. I'm hanging out with you.
I mean, that's Leia's food. I'm different. I'm unfortunately different from Leia.
Oh, now see, I think I made a mistake on this just a tiny bit. But that's the good thing about plastic glue, is it takes a second to dry, so it's flexible enough that if you do make a mistake, such as not putting pieces on at the same time or doing them in slightly out of order, then you can still kind of wiggle it because it's not fully dry for a little bit. Super glue is not as forgiving.
Yeah, but there is one funny thing about, if we're going back to Raphael the Raven here for a second, since we just reached the boss fight.
Yeah.
You actually see in Paper Mario, you see how Raphael the Ravens fly.
Oh yeah.
And they just move their little feetsies.
Yeah, they don't have wings. They don't need wings. They're better. They're cool. They're better than wings.
They just flap their toes.
Yeah, this is a really good boss fight. And I actually aced it for once. Oop. I will be right back. I just heard my phone again. I'm just too popular. Everybody needs me.
Yeah, that's just the way, isn't it?
Every time I stress, it happens when I stream. Phone calls are like 10 billion DMs at once, I swear. All right, be right back.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out the best way I could use my sensitivity. Does it sound like I cut in and out to everyone else here?
No, it's pretty clear.
It is pretty clear?
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm looking at the sensitivity bar right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine on this end. Just give me a second, I'll check the Twitch stream as well. Yeah, try saying something.
It is time for all good men to come to the aid of the party.
Okay, so... Well, speaking of parties,
Yeah,
we
that's
do...
working fine.
Oh, good. So speaking of parties, we are going to have a shake-up in Final Fantasy XIV for a little bit, looks like. Had some party dynamics change, unfortunately. Let me see if I can brighten this a tiny bit. I've got a light fixture built into this thingamabobber. Let me see if that... Or does that make it worse? Might make it worse, huh? It was looking better for a while, but now it's kind of choppy again, huh? And so now the level has skeleton goonies. Slightly less derpy, but still adorable. There it goes. It's compensating. It's taking a
now we
second.
have the dancing. Now we have the dancing tribal Shy Guys.
One thing I loved was the terminal montage when they did Yoshi's Island. They showed the Shy Guys dancing, and he's like, "Dan, you can't do that. That's so insensitive." Or Larry, I can't remember, just some normal name for the Shy Guy. Some like a normal Western name for a Shy Guy. Okay, lastly do this.
And the problem is, though, is that they still keep doing it.
They don't stop, do they?
Nope.
It's a different time, that's for sure.
Same bat time, same bat place.
Yeah.
Yep. I'll be right back. I'm gonna check to see if my taco dip is done.
See, now it's possible I was supposed to do this portion first. See, I could look at the instructions, but I built enough models that sometimes I get a little ahead of myself, get a little arrogant about it. But it works out. That's, again, one reason I like plastic glue better. Everything's flexible for a little bit, so... Now you see there's a big bump here, maybe, you can see on the camera. On the right leg.
I have returned. Hello.
So I gotta cut that off. Hey, Roshan. So what did you get to eat?
Empanadas.
Ooh, I like empanadas.
With chicken and mushrooms as the filling.
Chicken?
Mm-hmm.
Chimkin? Now cutting, whenever there's like a mold line on ribbing, that always is difficult because you don't want to screw the ribbing up, you know? So like this part of the model where it's like flexible, where the leg joins the torso and you've got like what's supposed to be like a rubber underlayer but, for the joints of the power armor. Those you have to be really careful when you go over with your knife because you don't want to ruin that texture.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
And a trick you can use if you ever have like a mold line thing, there is a dedicated mold line tool, but if that's too big and you need something more precise, you can actually use the reverse side of your knife, the non-cutting edge, and kind of gently push it across the mold lines, because the mold lines are thin enough that it does clear them with a little pressure. And then you don't run the risk of scuffing it with the cutting edge. It's pretty good. And then sometimes you can see it'll still look a little bit rough, but if you run your hand along it and it feels smooth, then it will go away when you paint it. That just means that it's a little bit of mark on the plastic, but as soon as you prime it, it'll cover it right up. So that means you're good to go.
Okay. I'm gonna set my thing to push a talk for right now because I'm going to be eating, and this includes tortilla chips.
I am going to be jealous. How about that? Okay, bases. Where all the bases go? Come on, all their base are belong to me. We established this 20 years ago.
Is it working?
Yep, all good.
Okay, just wanted to check.
Okay. So, some people, this is also just an opinion thing, people doing it differently. A lot of people don't actually put the base on until they finish painting it. Or they like do them separately but don't glue them right away. And that is usually not a terrible idea, depending on what you're painting. However, one advantage of basing them at this stage is if you are posing them, it can make it a little easier to see how it'll look on the tabletop. And another advantage is that you can, if you're adding anything to the base, like if you want to add rubble or any bits in relation to the model, you can get a better idea of it. And luckily with these starter ones, you can kind of have the best of both worlds. These starter ones come with a hole in them and a little peg. So you don't even need to actually glue them on to use them right off the bat. See, there's a little peg on one of the feet. And that's for this hole here. And that way you can anchor it without having to do a drop of glue. And then once I have everything painted, I can take him off and... Or once I'm ready to paint him, I can take it off and do what I need to and then put him back on and actually apply the glue. So I like it when they do that. That's handy.
So much easier than the old bases with the bar across the feet and like the full-length slot across the base.
Oh, I hated slotted bases. Slotted bases were so annoying. Because they'd wobble, too.
Yeah.
They never fit exactly right, you know? I still have some old metal Pathfinders that are a little bit wobbly. And I've tried re-gluing them and stuffing them. And so some of them I just lost my patience with them and just completely cut the bar off and put them on a regular base. I was just kind of done messing with that. One more thing I need. I thought I got out already. Where is it? I am prepared. I am smart. I am... Okay, I'm neither of those. One sec. Oh, and to answer your earlier question, Zero, Yoshi's Island goes for about an hour and a half or hour 45. World 6 is just long. While I was grabbing the rest of the sprue I needed, I went ahead and grabbed this. This is one of my favorite Dark Eldar conversions I've ever done. This is called a Raider. And it's a flying... It's like a flyer, a rapid attack craft. And this one has some heavy conversions. But I love how it turned out. I added some extra fins, because this is like the Archon's personal transport. Whoops. That's upside down. So I made sure it got like all the extra flair I could give it. I love how it turned out. Now, I could be wrong, but I think they were... that the Raiders, the design on the Raiders was kind of inspired by, like, the sail barge in Return of the Jedi. Seems like
Yeah,
they have a
very
lot
much
of
so.
really similar affect. Which makes sense. Those guys are basically, like, thugs and pirates too, right? Oh, man. This level was awful. I should have kept my mic on because I started swearing a little creatively. Okay, so Sternguard. I'm just looking at the number because I have 2 guns clipped out for this guy and didn't remember which was his. So for this fella, let's see, 47 was your gun. Brother, it is my turn with the heavy bolter. Mom said I could have it. Yeah. Okay, so what I'm giving this guy is a cool gun. It's not as cool as in this edition as it was in the last edition, but it's still pretty neat. I'm giving this guy a combi plasma gun. And a combi plasma gun is pretty much what it's pretty much in the name. It combines a bolt gun and a plasma gun together. Yeah, 47, that's it. So let me grab his thing. Or bolt rifle, excuse me. Bolt rifle. The Primaris Marines are too cool for regular bolt guns. They need bolt rifles. The Primaris Marines are controversial. Like, don't get me wrong, I think they're really pretty. I really do like their aesthetics. Like, here's his, here's the combi plasma. So you can see that it's got the normal bolt gun attachment on top, but then it's got like a plasma projector, like a plasma barrel underneath. So you can fire it in either mode. The plasma guns are cool, but in 40k they are not stable. You can anytime you overcharge a plasma weapon, there's the possibility that it overheats and just kills the guy. Anytime you fire a plasma weapon, you have to roll 1d6, and if you roll a 1, it just blows up. So the guy just eats it. And it used to be a little less dangerous for Space Marines, because you used to be able to make an armor save for it.
Mm-hmm.
But now you just, nope, you just die. It makes me think of a meme I found that I need to find it because I can't figure out where it is. I thought I saved it, but I can't find it. But it shows an Imperial Guard. It shows some Imperial Guardsmen.
Yeah, I've just put that in stream chat.
Oh, you did? Oh, yes! Good on you. You're way ahead of me. Let me see if I can... I think I still have this on hand. Yeah, there we go. This is my rifle, this is my gun, this is my plasma. I rolled a 1. Yeah, good stuff. I have seen some really improbable rolls in the game. Like, it's just gonna happen statistically. Like, you're gonna see some weird stuff if you play long enough. And one of my favorite moments was I had a bunch of, let's see, I was playing as, I think I was playing as Iron Warriors, because it's like one of the only times I've actually gotten Chaos out. I haven't played Chaos often. And I had a bunch of Militarum Tempestus Scions. These are basically like dedicated guardsmen stormtroopers. So they're still baseline humans, like all guardsmen, but they have the best training and equipment. They're the best of the best, you know, special forces basically. And my opponent had a bunch of them jump out of a Valkyrie, which is like one of their aircraft. And 5 guys with plasma guns just dropped them, just shoved them right up my pooper, basically, right in my face. And it was looking really bad for me statistically. All 5 of them overheated and killed all 5 of them.
One time I was doing leadership roles and managed to get 4 12s in 7 rolls.
Oh,
There were
jeez.
dwarves fleeing all over the place.
Oh, no. Yeah, morale used to work a little differently. Your units used to actually run away if they failed morale tests,
Yep.
which I always kind of liked personally. I found that amusing. And they could regroup if they didn't run off of the table edge. So there's the possibility they could get their shit together. Nowadays the rule's a little different, and I don't like it quite as much. But nowadays, when you fail leadership, what happens is your squad cannot hold objectives, you cannot use stratagems or abilities on them. So basically, it's more like a breakdown in structure rather than actually running away.
I think it was a similar thing in Necromunda way back when, with the bottle checks.
You know, this is sad. I've never actually played Necromunda. I've always wanted to, but I've never gotten around to it.
It's a lot of fun. The setting especially, all the lore and stuff is really good to get into. And on the tabletop, it's basically Kill Team.
Yeah, I'd heard it compared to that a few times. Kill Team is such a weird animal because it's really fun and oh, that stupid platform. I hate those stupid spinning things. It's a really weird animal because Kill Team is fun, but it's they keep changing it. Like, they can't really decide what they want Kill Team to be.
Yeah, they don't know if they want it to be streamlined or more of a tactical thing or not.
Yeah, so it's really inconsistent. It's a good idea. I like it because for those of you guys who know, Kill Team is basically it's Warhammer 40k squad combat. It's instead of taking entire armies, you're basically picking like a squad of elite operatives to carry out an objective. And they call it Kill Team because a lot with some of those missions are like assassination or really precise incursion type stuff. This one's really tricky angle. Now, one thing I'm going to do is because I like to convert the models a little bit or kit bash them, one of the things I am going to do is I am going to Blood Angelify the gun a little bit by putting one of those blood droplet tokens hanging from the plasma barrel. And then I think I'll probably also give him a custom head instead of the one it comes with. There we go. There we go. That's another thing I would recommend you do what I just did, where before you even put any glue in, you dry fit it thoroughly, so you can get a good idea of how it fits, so you're not finagling it while the glue's in there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, one thing I like about Kill Team is that they did see, at least for a while, wanted to make it really they wanted to make it really campaign focused. And campaigns are really fun because campaigns are where you link games together for some kind of narrative, like you're telling a story of a larger combat engagement. And those can be really fun because then you have like characters that can like level up.
Yeah,
or like have casualties in between.
Tabletop RPG campaigns, a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I loved about a lot of the old side games back in the day, like Gorka Morka as well, had that kind of thing.
So just so you guys know, Gorka Morka, that's also a 40k game, but it's centered around the orcs. It's got a lot of like Mad Max vibes.
Mm-hmm.
Gork and Mork are the orcs' gods. They're the gods the orcs worship. And I love how they describe him. Gork is cunning but brutal, and Mork is brutal but cunning.
By the way, I am sorry for interrupting earlier. I was watching the Twitch stream, so it is behind a little bit.
Oh no, you're good. And this level in particular had me raging. I think I remember yelling the phrase "stupid fireball fucknut" at some point.
Your you thing to yell.
I get a little unconventional. It's my swearing occasionally. Could be worse. I went to a school with a guy who legitimately zero filter. Just said everything as it came to him. And he swore a lot in high school, and obviously you can't do that, right? They'll get on your case for that.
Mm-hmm.
So I just remember one time we were in a math test, and I'm sitting next to him, and he's just kind of grumbling to himself, and finally he just goes, shit. And the math teacher goes, Eric, language! And he goes, what the fuck did I say this time? So he just had no control.
Oops.
Oh shit, just won the big prize on the mini cacpot in Final Fantasy.
Yo! You got the gold saucer then?
Yeah. Got 10,000 GP.
Dang. I want to
Gotta save
revisit
up a
that
lot
place. There's
because
more I want to go.
the regalia is 200 grand when that comes next month.
Oh, nice.
I already have like 400 grand or something.
So sometimes I adjust the pose with these guys when I'm building them if I think that I can do something better than the stock pose. However, this guy, I really like the pose he comes with. So I'm just getting the shoulder pads a little bit off. Trying to fix that real quick. Come on. But when you adjust the pose for things, usually you don't need to do anything drastic, but a lot of times it just involves like cutting things at a slight angle. Or giving them alternate parts that are in a different configuration, kinda. Come on. Oh, come on, I almost got you, buddy. You're almost there. Don't you want to go in your slot? It's perfect for your size. It's just for you, buddy. I saved it. Yeah. Yeah, you want to go in there, don't you? Yeah, there you go. Come on. That's it. That's it. There you go. Now you're home. It's a good guy. That's good. So yeah, this guy's got a really dynamic pose, I think, right off the bat, because he's like turning to fire. So I'm keeping that. I like that pose. Now, one thing you also can notice is you can see some gaps. Like if you look closely at the head, where the head goes, there's kind of a gap where the two halves of the armor meet. If any of those are still visible after finishing the model, you do generally want to gap fill. And the main way to do that is with epoxy. And it used to be you had to do like solid epoxy and just kind of water it down. But what's cool is now they've got something called liquid green stuff. And it's like pretty much what it sounds like. It's like a liquid epoxy. And when you put it in there, it sort of seeps into the gaps and then dries. And then you can use your knife to clean it up if any of it sticks out still. You want to be you don't want to be liberal with it, obviously. You want to just use a tiny bit so it doesn't overflow or anything. So now I'm going to pick a head, and this is one thing I like. I'll be right back. So I've been doing this for many years. So I am not spoiled for choice of parts. These are all the heads that I have that are Blood Angels heads.
Nice.
So I get a fair amount of choice. And I think with this guy, I'm going to use a bear head, actually. Because...
You actually have heads of bears in there?
Yes. Yeah, everyone's heard of the Space Wolves, but the Space Bears, not so much, you know. I do have... I want one yelling, because I think that would be cool for that pose. Also, the Blood Angels are good at that. Like, they're very regal. They're very heroic. But they're also frothing lunatics in the heat of battle, so... let's see, how's this one? Ah, no! No! I dropped the beakies. Oh, this is a beaky, by the way. These are the oldest variant of Space Marine helmet.
Absolute classic.
Yeah, they have like a... Because the conical nose thing, I think, was supposed to originally be like kind of like a gas mask sort of thing. But they retconned it to say that it's like a bunch of extra sensors. Ooh, I love this part of this fortress, where you're in the dark exploring. I definitely don't like it because I'm eating mice left and right. Okay, so this is the head we'll go with, because I kind of like how that vibes with the pose.
Yeah, you're eating mice left and right. That's Leia and Erwin's job.
Not Erwin.
Not Erwin?
No, Erwin's not.
Ah, okay.
So he's kind of yelling. I like that.
Erwin's
What's cool?
good.
What's cool is like.
Erwin's not.
Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say Erwin's a sweetie. He wouldn't do that.
It's too gentle, huh?
Yeah. By the way, if you look at that head close enough, you can hear what he's saying.
Oh.
For Alamigo!
Oh, dang it!
It's like putting your head to a shell.
Oh, dang it! I was going to do. That's another thing I was going to do was keep forgetting to add that to the soundboard. I had a couple of things. I had Roshan's no. I had the. I had the why would you do that thing. Here's one thing I want to show though that's really cool. This is a third-party head that I got. So I think I've mentioned a couple of times that there's a Ukrainian studio I'm really fond of that does really Warhammer-esque minis. They're not official, but they're unmistakably, that's what they are. They're Warhammer. Like, that's just inarguable, you know? Now, one of the things they have... Come on... And I think technically this is a female head, but I think it would work really well for the Blood Angels because they do like some of them do like the long hair thing, like the Archangel vibe. And so I have this hair head that I think would be really cool on a Blood Angel. Let's see if I can get any detail on it.
I see it. Nice.
Yeah, that's androgynous enough to work.
I think it would be,
Very
yeah.
nice.
I mean, if anybody would get away with it, it would be the Blood Angels. They're the oh no,
Yeah.
he's hot chapter.
Or the Emperor's children.
The Emperor's, yeah, definitely the Emperor's children get away with it. They, like, depending on how old you go in the source art, some of them have tits, so... that's a thing Slanesh models can sometimes do. They definitely have sort of a gender-bending vibe. Definitely a lot of that. Actually, maybe that would be a cool head for this one. It's too small for this one. It doesn't really work on a Primaris model, I don't think, with proportions. I think I'd need to save it for a classic Space Marine. Of which I will be keeping and using and building. Like, don't get me wrong, I like the Primaris guys. I think they're very nice aesthetically. But I just like the classics too. Like, GW trying to phase out tactical squads and like assault squads and devastators is definitely something I am not a fan of. Especially like back when they originally announced the Primaris Marines, I remember the blog post where they're like, "Oh no, we're not going to replace." Hang on, let me This cord's a little short. I need a longer cord so I don't have to lean over so far.
Yeah, now I'm thinking about getting about the whole idea of getting. Hey, we're gonna buy this lot of 100,000 pieces of Warhammer figurines.
Dude, I will do that sometimes. Sometimes people will do that on eBay where they're like, hey, here's a bag of like 1,000 random bits for $10. Sometimes I am all over that sort of thing because kit bashing is something I really enjoy.
Yeah, I had the feeling that you would likely do so. That you would be into that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I really like the models being distinct. I don't really like having any of them being super stock unless they're like a named character with lore. But it's just a thing I enjoy, is making them mine. Like, there's a concept that some of the gamers have, which is quote unquote your guys. And that is basically the idea of the modeling and the gaming should be to make them your way. You know, you don't need to follow anything too strictly as long as it's your guys, the way you want to engage with the game.
Yeah, that used to be what they encouraged with all of it. Make your own chapters and everything.
Mm-hmm. And I actually definitely would be into making my own chapter. The only reason I haven't is because I'm doing this ridiculous Space Marine project that I started back when I started reading the Horus Heresy novels, where I wanted just at least a small fighting force of every one of the mainline chapters that I would love to eventually display side by side one day. And I didn't realize at the time what an utterly insane undertaking that was.
Yeah.
Like, it seemed cool at the time, but...
By the way, to everybody watching right now, we get a nice gift. We get to see the Mario 3 boss fight.
Yeah.
In the style of Yoshi's Island.
I was not amazing in this boss fight, but it's really fun. I like it. I like that kind of boss fight where you have to like outsmart the guy. You can't just brute force it. So another tip I would go with when you're doing heads is I always try to have the head aligned with the gun barrel. It makes the most convincing pose, I think.
Doing head, you say?
I'm gonna get banned again. Stream taken down. Reason: giving head on stream. So there we go. So that looks pretty good, don't you think? Like the expression and everything.
Yeah.
And now it really does seem like he's just screaming.
For El Amigo!
Hey, he's fighting for good reasons, okay?
He better not get
Sloppy.
3-up armor's pretty good, but you never know. One thing that I really like about the Primaris models is that the old Space Marines are definitely a little wider than they are tall. And one thing I got to give the Primaris models is that they really are more in proportion. I'll give you a comparison. Let's see. Where's an old fella? Oh, here, I'll do one of my old ones that wasn't painted amazingly, but I'm still okay with it. So here's a classic Space Marine, proportionally, pre-Primaris. So I painted this one. That's why it's got a few issues here and there, but I still think I did an okay job.
Nice.
The gold turned out more bronze than I'd like. I wanted my newer ones are more gleaming. This one ended up a little sloppy. And as long as I was grabbing that one, I found this guy. This is an assault marine that I did, and my friend and I gave him the most ridiculous hair in the world. Because he was learning green stuff sculpting, and it's very silly, but I still adore it.
Nice.
He's got a jump pack, so he's basically
Lovely.
going through the air.
That is straight up freaking Valhallan hair.
Yeah, we went a little ham on it, which sometimes, you know, that's what you got to do, right?
Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do.
It's all very second edition promo art.
And so here's the difference, just so you can see side by side in the proportions. So I definitely like the Primaris Marines, but when GW was originally like, oh yeah, don't worry, the Primaris Marines won't replace the classic ones. I even remember back then, I'm like, bullshit.
Yeah.
Oop, did somebody join? Or did I? Am I hearing things?
My throat's finally behaving itself, so I'm not having to clear my throat every 2 words.
Oh, lovely.
Hello, hello.
How are your fingers?
I am doing better.
That's good to hear. I think I'm going to give this guy a regular... Let's see. Do I want to give him a custom backpack, too? I might give him a custom backpack. I've got a few to choose from that I really like. Because the Primaris ones are cool, but the Blood Angels have ones that I really like that have, like... I think I'll use this one. Oh, that's resin, though. That means I'd have to break out the super glue. Maybe I won't use that one. Oh, here we go. I'll use this one, because it's got a little halo on it that'll frame his head really well. So I will use this one. The ones that come with the Primaris Marines are cool. I don't mind those power packs. You can see one of them here on the build sprue. Whoops, upside down. That's this top one here. That's the backpack to their power armor. And I like them. I think they're cool, but they're just kind of extra clean. So I'm going to give him this one.
Yeah.
I like this one better. This one's very Blood Angel-y. And then it's got, like, hanging from it, they sometimes have, like, these little vials of sacred blood that they'll keep on their armor. It's kind of like a symbol. Blood Angels, I don't know if you know this or not, are kind of into blood. Now, cleaning these backpacks is always kind of need to be cautious, because you want to keep the curve. Whenever you have I don't like that that this is where the sprue clips from, because anytime you have to clean a curve, you run the risk of denting it. So you have to be very cautious and slow. Man, this level, I mean, at least they warn you. It's called the Very Long Cave, but goddamn. So, have any of you played? I know Tourmaline, you've probably played a fair few of them, but have any of you played any of the Warhammer video games?
I've tried to. They just never clicked.
Gotcha. I got poor Ren addicted to Space Marine.
Yeah, it's one of the best ones. A lot of the ones you'll find, especially if you look on Steam, there's a bunch that are basically just mobile ports of generic turn-based action stuff that essentially plays just like the tabletop.
Yeah.
Kind of XCOM light stuff.
But none of them do it on a none of them have done it on. I don't think any of them have done it on quite as good a scale as like Dawn of War though.
Yeah, that's the best big one.
I think that's the best one, like tactical
Or
game.
if you want, yeah, if you like turn-based but really good, Mechanicus is the one to look at. The tech-based one.
That's one of the only ones I haven't played, and I really mean to.
Yep, I was gonna say, are any of them? I was about to ask if any of them were cross-play with PS4.
Unlikely. Space Marine might be. Space Marine might be.
Yeah, or the one that's most likely to cross-play is Inquisitor Martyr. It's an ARPG, Diablo-like kind of thing.
I've also heard that Darktide
let me
is.
check.
I also heard that Darktide has been fixed. A lot of the technical issues they were having.
Oh
have been
yeah,
fixed.
that is really good now.
Oh, okay. Actually, I take it back. Then there was one Warhammer game that did hold my interest for a while. And that was Vermintide 1.
I'll be right back.
Ah, fantasy, yeah.
Yeah. One was pretty. One I had a lot of fun doing with some friends. I was Fire Lady and birds,
Nice.
everything, including my friends.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if there's I was gonna say, I did remember seeing one other type of game that was available. It was like if you want to play like a Doom clone, there's Bolt Gun that recently came out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it looks like none of them
Doom is
have
one of my favorite
crossplay,
games ever.
unfortunately.
I would say, because I do have the option to play them on Steam, and it would very likely I could only play them using my Steam Deck.
Ah, right, yeah. Bolt Gun would be really good for that.
Ladies and gentlemen, Teddy has arrived.
Yay!
You didn't hear anybody yelling, did you?
Nah.
No.
Okay, because I forgot to mute my mic and someone used my real name, so. What's really funny is we have a parrot that loves to yell my real name. Parrot calls me all the day long. Yeah. Alright, so use that backpack. Now, the only thing with using a custom backpack is it doesn't have the little push fit. So you do have to fit it yourself, which isn't, that hard, but it does take a tiny bit more effort. Oh,
Tiny bit of effort to get things to fit in just the right way.
oh, I love that plasma one where they painted the guy bracing himself while he fires.
Yeah.
Who the
So, one thing I'm gonna try, after we finish this guy, do you want me to try the Dreadnought? So we can get a little
Yeah, sure.
diversity? So Dreadnought will probably take a second. Although, this one's less complicated than most of the ones I've seen. One of the kits I hated the most of their Primaris set has been the Redemptor. I hated the Redemptor Dreadnought kit. It did not cooperate in any way. Oh shit, I missed a
I'm
part.
sorry, but I just saw on Twitch like the row of skeleton Goonies just going through a journey, and they all dying instantly when they ran into the rock.
Yeah, I was following them and I was debating whether to intervene or not. I'm like, do I want to try and divert their course? I'm like, no, destiny will do as it will. The skeleton Goonies march on stoically.
I am hearing stuff in Fingers' background.
Yeah.
Fingers, how dare you do something interesting that doesn't involve me?
do something.
I'm teasing.
do
We
something.
can,
The leaking audio.
we can hear your background a little.
Sorry.
No, you're good, man. It happens. There we go.
Little bitchin' ass.
Nope, you're good. My audio... I keep getting really irritated because whenever Discord updates, it seems to reset my settings.
Yeah.
It's like I might have the microphone at like the exact right sensitivity, and then it'll just wonk it up when it updates without telling me.
Yeah, I imagine that happens. Yeah, that happens a lot.
Why did I get the slot machine every time? I'm so bad at the slot machine. Why didn't they give me a mini game I'm good at? So this one you just kind of eyeball, because it doesn't fit on perfectly.
Are you talking about the model or the slot machine?
The slot machine I just lose. I don't have a strategy there. My strategy is accept my lot in life with slot machines. See, that's cool. I like how that frames his head.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I like that a lot better than the one it came with. Yeah, there have been times where people have gotten me model gifts, and if I'm not building something immediately, there are some times where I will just cannibalize entire sprues. I'm like, yep, I'm gonna save those heads, I'm gonna save that backpack. I'm gonna do a little of this, I'm gonna do a little of that. Alright, so this one we started last time, but we didn't finish, and it's the Sergeant. And the reason I'm keeping him is because he's probably the one whose torso I'm gonna saw off and replace. I'm gonna give him the filigree torso. But that will involve breaking out my razor saw. And it should be a pretty simple cut, except for the little pouch here and the gun holster. Those are the things I'm gonna have to work around. Otherwise, it's pretty straightforward. What I may end up doing is cutting off this pouch entirely and then adding one back in from some accessories that I have. However, the holster, that's going to be the trickiest part to get around. But I'll make it work. But I think it'd be cool. I think it would make him really distinct. And I like to make the sergeants, the squad leaders, the flashiest ones in the unit if possible, since they're the big in charge guys. Yep. So that's pretty good. I made better time on that one. All right, so, but just so you know, like, they also put a lot of effort into making hero models really stand out. Some of them are just gorgeous. I'm excited to build this one later. This is the new Terminator captain. And they have rescaled the Terminators recently. The new Terminators are much larger to be sort of in keeping with the Primaris proportions.
Mm-hmm.
And look at this sword. I love this guy's sword.
Nice.
Oops, that's upside down. Of course it is. That's a cool sword. And one thing you may notice, if you can see the detail, is that the sword has like a little, like, wire thing going into the blade. That's because that's the way power weapons work. It's not just a sword with a blade. It's a sword blade with a power field that's on it, that's energized, that basically lets it slice through armor like butter. It's like sort of it adds sort of like a disruptor, like a disruption field sort of thing to it.
Oh, so it has like the, does it have like little like blue electricity things to represent that?
Yeah, a lot of people paint him that way.
Because it sounds similar to the vibration thing that they have for Metal Gear Rising.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, very similar.
And speaking of power swords, Darktide's just had an update where now you can activate the power sword in the middle of a combo. So you can smack, smack, schwung, wang.
I like your sound effects are very descriptive.
Oh, the sound in Darktide is one of the best things about it. The way, like, the whole sound design works. With headphones, you can just pick out everything without seeing it. It works really, really well.
That was one of the things I loved about Space Marine was you could actually like feel the thrum of a bolt gun almost.
Yeah.
I wanted to like Dark Tide, but the life service bullshit got in the way too much for me.
It also had it was glitchy as hell
understandable.
it was glitchy as hell on launch too.
Yeah.
Have they gotten rid of the live service stuff?
No.
Dude, live service gaming.
Unfortunately, it is like baked in, but it's not. It's still got the cash up and everything, but that's all just cosmetics. You can ignore it if you want.
Everyone says that, but it's always just constantly. These kind of games are not there to make you like, oh yeah, you can ignore these stuff we spent lots of hours and money and stuff into. It's like they want you to buy that shit. They're gonna keep trying to gear you towards the fucking cosmetic shop, whatever.
Oh
yeah, that is the problem because it is 100% a ploy to bring in to drag in neurodivergent people and people who
yeah, that's a problem. The hardcore low nerds who need to be a Krieger or whatever.
Yeah, it is definitely an abusive tactic, and it's actually very heavily regulated in some places more than the U.S.
Yeah.
What they can actually get away with in terms of addictive marketing. Because there is a lot of psychology at play that is pretty well understood in how they're very much using the kind of gambling, the things that trigger people with gambling. And frankly, I just live service.
Big companies hire the same consultants as the casinos.
And the other thing that really bugs me about it is that it's just very normalized. It's a thing that you see so often that the scale of it is sometimes you forget.
Yeah.
Like here's a sad thing. This is I found this absolutely sad. More money has been made selling mounts in World of Warcraft than the entirety of StarCraft 2.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was gonna say
Just one mount made more money than all of StarCraft 2.
So, like, obviously these companies prioritize that kind of... Because there are whales out there who will drop obscene amounts of money for stuff.
And the publishers will mandate it to the studios, and they get forced into doing stuff they didn't want to do.
one of the reasons why I don't really buy any types of AAA games anymore.
I'm kind of selective about it. One thing that ticked me off the other day was I was reading an article by a games quote-unquote journalist saying, "Oh yeah, single player's dead."
Oh no, I remember that. That was a long time ago.
No, they do this. They do this repeatedly.
They keep trying to say because
they bring it back repeatedly every few years.
Yep.
Yeah, they keep trying to say that. And the last time they said that, then Hi-Fi Rush released, and it was one of the most successful games.
Well, Nintendo's most successful game over Christmas was Super Mario RPG.
Yeah.
Yeah, this latest article coming just a few months after Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I forgot. It was all Baldur's Gate fucking 3.
And I think it's because they really are trying to get people into a live service mindset. Or into a always online mindset.
Yep.
Yeah, of course.
By the way, I am sorry for saying oh, that sucks because I just saw what happened to you and the baby Mario.
Oh, I know. Did you see at the end? I just gave up.
Yeah, there was nothing you could do there. You were stuck in that room and you can't leave without Mario.
I just made Yoshi look sad.
I don't blame you. That's a sad occasion. He got freaking hosed into another room while freaking baby Mario flew away.
All right, so what I'm working on right now is what they want you to start on is the Dreadnought's torso and legs. So the thing I'm working on now is like kind of the hip, where the main chassis and the legs join.
Oh, whoops. Dreadnoughts
are very cool. In fact, to give you an idea, let me grab one. that's done.
I have a question.
Just show you what we're going for.
Okay, is there a difference between dreadnoughts and terminators?
Yes. Yeah. I will show you in just a moment.
The short version is Terminators are heavy armor, and Dreadnoughts are full, like walking tanks with the remains of a half-alive Space Marine interred in the middle.
Ah, okay. That sounds reasonable.
The disadvantage of Space Marines being very hard to kill is they can end up as basically just a torso and head and still be alive.
Mm-hmm.
So, Terminators are still infantry. They're guys in massive armor that do really elite missions. They tend to teleport in. This one is using a really old pattern of Terminator, but this is a Terminator. This is a really old pattern of armor. The newer ones are a little more curvy. This is an old model called Cataphractii Terminator armor. That I've of course have customized and tinkered with. I need to fix some of that green stuff. It's a little choppy, but gets the job done. So that's a Terminator. Just regular guys, but in really heavy armor to undertake really precise missions. They tend to teleport into battle. They're the best of the chapter. Dreadnoughts are actual like combat walkers. So here's like an older one. This is a Death Company Dreadnought. And I'm very proud of how this one turned out. So they are like a full-on walking tank. And the thing with Dreadnoughts is they're piloted by a Space Marine that's just been wounded severely, who would just basically die on his own. And so they take whatever's left of them and put him in a mechanical sarcophagus, and then implant that inside a Dreadnought so that he can continue to serve the chapter.
It kind of almost puts me in mind of like Dragoons from the StarCraft series.
Yeah, exactly the same.
Yeah.
And then here's one of the ones I was talking about earlier. This is the Redemptor Dreadnought. This kit drove me insane, and it still hangs awkwardly, but it turned out acceptable, but good lord, what a difficult build this one was. So I 3D printed some cool add-on parts that are very Blood Angel-ish. Like it's got a cool Halo head, it's got an extra armor plate that's got their chapter logo. The side has some filigree. The plasma gun hangs off at just a terrible angle. I need to fix that at some point because this thing just ticks me off. But this is such a difficult build, so you can see that like the size discrepancy isn't even close. Like Dreadnoughts tower over your basic guys. And they're usually used for like shock assault to spearhead things, but they're also known as like chapter ancients, and they're very revered for like their tactical wisdom too, because a lot of them are just centuries old. So yeah, a lot of them are quite honored, although the Dreadnoughts themselves feel slightly less honored at their position. They're kept in like a state of suspended animation when not in battle, so that they can be like maintained and cared for to run optimally when they need to fight, or their tactical advice is necessary. Like I love the ancient Rylanor memes. He's a very famous Dreadnought from the Horus Heresy series. Ancient Rylanor. He was a loyalist Emperor's children.
Minutes of Brother Tancred. You have woken me from a most pleasant dream involving sisters of battle. Twins they were.
I love it. Alright, second to last level. And I got more chain chomps trying to vor me. Chain chomps with no chains are scary.
But chain chomps with like cracked teeth is just sad.
Yeah. I do feel a little bit bad. Especially because they cry. Like, that's just insult to injury, right? I mean, it's not as bad as the sad cactus. See, that's more proof that, like, riding and eating Goonies is fine. Goonies don't feel pain. Goonies don't have a lot going on in the noggin. So, one thing about Dreadnoughts that's really interesting is how they've been classified over the years. In older editions of the game, vehicles and infantry had different profiles, like totally different stat lines. Like, most of your units, they have things like strength, toughness, wounds, armor save, leadership, initiative on some of the older ones. Just sort of stuff like that, you know, basic stats. The vehicles instead had armor facings. And an armor could be anything from 10 to 14. And if you rolled to hit and you actually made a roll equal to their armor, when you add the strength in your roll, then you get what's called a glancing hit, and you roll on a damage table to see what happens to the vehicle. If you exceed it, you get a penetrating hit, and you roll on a damage table that's more likely to destroy them or do more crippling damage. But ironically, in 6th edition and 7th edition, because of some of the changes they made, vehicles were actually more fragile because of that. So, like, vehicles were intended to be like, oh yeah, they're immune to small arms fire, but, like, one crack missile could end a Dreadnought. Potentially, easily. So in the game nowadays, everything has one stat line. Vehicles just have a shit ton more wounds that they can take. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. I always thought that this song was kind of Tim Burton-y. Like, I could see like a location in Halloween Town playing this. Oh, speaking of Halloween Town, did you guys hear Epic Mickey is getting a Switch remake?
Huh.
Yeah. Didn't care much for it, but...
I didn't play it much, but it was one of my sister's very favorite games. Oh shit, where's the other part? There it is. So I was thinking after this, not today obviously, but I mean like after Yoshi's Island is done, we could jump into the 3D Mario games since we've been doing Mario, or I could try to revive the Silent Hill playthrough. I think I got 3 fixed. It was having some issues. But I think I got to the bottom of it.
Good.
Oh,
That'll make Aiden happy. Aiden really wants to do 4 because he's a big fan of 4.
4's a silly
I really
one.
like it as well. It's silly,
But
but
Yeah.
and it does have its issues, but a lot of the things they tried to do story-wise are really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's worthy talking about more so than any of like the Western developed Silent Hills that came after.
It's one of those where it's phenomenal concept, iffy execution.
Yeah. Great idea.
It does have a few moments that tend to come to me whenever I think about Silent Hill. There's a few things like the giant head in the hospital.
Oh yeah.
Or the weird baby things that are like 2 faces with arms that stomp around.
Yeah, it's one thing I really like about 4 is that it just took a different approach to the setting and leaned really hard into the surreality.
Yeah.
And it told an interesting story that your player character was actually not... It didn't do the rehashing thing where your player character had, some kind of like hidden sin in his past or whatever, or something he has to confront. Like, Henry didn't actually like do anything wrong.
Yeah.
He was there. He was just there.
Yeah. He just happened to live in the apartment that did the wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say when I felt like I think I might be tired because when Tourmaline said Silent Hill, it sounded to me like he said Cylon Hill. So now I'm thinking of like Silent Hill, but in freaking what is it, Battlestar Galactica?
Oh
Yeah.
no, we got another fracking monster. All right, here, you got to check this sticker out that Keon made. Speaking of Cylons.
Oh wait, it still says AFK on the status. You only up that.
Oh, whoops. Thanks.
What am I updated here?
There you go. There's a sticker that I like. Okay, did I get everything? No, I did not.
Cylon detected, yeah.
One of my favorite characters of Keon's is a ferret named Mix.
Where's that? Can you even use a egg on those fireballs?
You cannot.
Kinda wish you could though, because the egg should be strong enough to like not get burned up instantly.
There are very few enemies in this that are invincible, but I don't know any way to kill those fireballs. I don't know any way to kill them. So this is the second to last level, I think.
Yeah, because I see that the castle is next after this.
Mm-hmm. Now, the castle's a fun level. When you go in there, there's like a spinning roulette of 6 doors that all have different challenges.
Mm-hmm.
And
By the way,
different...
hi Ren.
Oh,
Hi, Ren.
Ren, yay!
I
You
Ren,
do need to adjust the.
what are you doing?
You do need to adjust the screens.
Oh, Ren, what are you doing? Oh, no. Poor Yoshi. There you go.
Forgot to get
Me forget something, I beg your pardon. Has never happened ever once, ever. No need to go looking for evidence. Let's just accept that.
Goats my goats.
Wouldn't you have forgotten that you forgot the thing if you forgot it?
I said totes my goats. This is settled. Now.
I have spoken. I have spoken. So how you doing, Ren?
It's going.
I am building a
I have another
Ballistus
appointment.
Dreadnought. We already built a Space Marine that I think turned out really well, and my camera is significantly better this time.
Yeah, I noticed it.
But this is
You
the one
can,
we
like,
built.
actually see things.
This is the one we just built.
Yeah.
Very Blood Angel. And one thing I will do later, I just do not feel like breaking out super glue right now. But one thing I will do later is, for these models, is you'll notice that the armor plating on the shoulders is curved. That's where like a lot of iconography goes. And they do give you these transfer sheets that you can use, these water slide things, that you can use to put whatever logos you want on them for some of the different chapters.
Oh, that timing sucked.
However, I suck ass at using these, so I use 3D printed bits for it. It gives you an elevated surface that's easier to paint.
That's right.
So I have...
Do you have a 3D printer?
I don't actually have one myself. However, my old the senior dev where I used to work is really passionate about 3D printing, and we had an arrangement where if I pay for the plastic, he will let me print whatever I want.
Nice.
Yeah, so I have the benefit of having occasional access. I don't know where they are now. I thought they were... Oh, here they are. Here's some 3D printed bits. These are all 3D printed, and I use them to create raised surfaces instead of the iconography being just flat transfers. These actually, they're the same size, they're the similar designs, if not identical. And you can just put them right on the surface with a little super glue. You do have to use super glue because it's not the same type of plastic as these guys. Oh, and Ren, I was doing some show and tell with the better camera because I was explaining dreadnoughts. This is one of my better dreadnoughts. This is a Death Company dreadnought.
That looks really cool.
Yeah, he's sort of a close combat assault
Just got home, so I'm gonna mute for a bit.
fella. Walking tank. You know, I was thinking, at some point, if you want, I could help you out with that Infernal Master, if you ever still want to get that off the ground. Nope, Ren's muted, my bad. Ren's muted. Ren, I demand you come back and pay attention to me. This is the way this works, right? I'm kidding, whatever you got going is good.
Totes the goats.
The other day I was on a server that Tarmaline and I share, and I said, you know, I'll admit that I'm kind of an attention whore. And one of our acquaintances just said, you can drop that at attention. Or you can drop the attention.
Okay, I think it's fine. Sorry, my family got home and they were having a loud conversation
Oh no, you're good.
outside the room. But yeah, it would be really cool. I have, I think, everything. I have like the little that knife that you're using there. I have the glue. I have everything but the paint stuff, really.
Okay.
So I probably could, but the issue is finding the time to do it.
Sure. Oh yeah, for sure. I get it. And it may not be the same for you, especially like when you're still learning. I personally find building models really cathartic and relaxing.
I expect that if I build enough, it's gonna get that way, but for now, I can only really imagine, because I am not, like... Okay, this has so much potential for a horrible joke. Anyway, I am not the best at dexterous hand movements. So I expect that most of it is just gonna be me struggling with the tiny things and with precision-related stuff, and then getting really mad.
Painting is where it gets tricky.
Yeah, you'll notice a lot of my guys are not painted.
Look, Ren, if you're not good at dexterous hand movements, just use your tongue instead. That works just well.
True! Yes, I will...
The wisdom of fingers, truly. But there's a reason a lot of my guys aren't painted. So until recently, I was on a medication that gave me occasional hand tremors. And it usually only happened when I was doing something really precise, like holding a paintbrush really carefully. So for whatever reason, it's easier to build than paint, even though it is still precise work. I find it easier, and so a lot of my stuff isn't painted for that reason. And I do want to do some painting on stream, but I need to get some supplies, and I do need to do a little bit of refresher work on my own to make sure I don't do anything too wantonly stupid. I used to paint more. Plus, one thing I want to try is they've got a new thing called a new technique called contrast paints that I really do want to try. Oh,
Yeah, I've wrapped up those, and it looks pretty good.
Oh, please ignore the Yoshi's Island footage for the next few minutes. This is monumentally stupid.
Worse than that other time with the I don't remember what level that was, but you know, the one.
Oh, that I kept doing over and over
Yeah.
again with the Goonies, just watching me
Yes,
die over and
yes,
over like
that's-
Groundhog Day.
That's what they were, the Goonies level. Which, by the way, totally deserved for murdering that one Goonie.
I didn't murder just one Goonie.
Yeah, but there's like one in particular.
Yeah. That's okay. The skeleton Goonies try to get their revenge in this world. Yes, there are skeleton Goonies. You did miss the skeleton Goonies.
Individual Goonies you killed.
Run away, hurry. That advice makes me unnerved. But this is actually my favorite door you can get in this castle. Because it basically is a mini boss fight combined with an auto-scroll platformer section. And I like the boss music in this game, so that helps. This game really got a lot out of the SNES sound chip.
Yeah, a lot of SNES games got a lot out of the sound chip.
It was just really good. Like, the reason I think that a lot of people remember the SNES as sounding so much better than the Genesis was because the Genesis actually had a really good sound chip. It's just that it was really bad at sampling, and that's what everyone wanted to do with it, instead of like doing anything programmatic. So that's why a lot of the Western developed Sega games especially sounded like broken glass. But you can hear examples of the Genesis also being really good. I point to the Sonic soundtracks for one.
Yeah, as I was literally just humming that.
Comes to mind for a few people, I guess.
I really need to get into older consoles. I feel like there's like it's fine to only have like played on the newer things, I think, all things considered, but like also I feel like I'm kind of missing out on some of the good old stuff because I feel like today's games just don't have the same charm.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree.
Yeah,
but I also would put an asterisk because there are some games that are absolutely worth the time. Others are not so much, and
yeah.
I've heard tales of a horrible, hellish game called Superman 64.
Oh boy.
I own that game.
You own it, as in a physical copy right now that you're going to stream for us in the next 10 days?
No. Because surprisingly, having a poor quality game on a poor quality stream will probably induce motion sickness.
Oh, come on, Fingers.
I've heard that it's like the hardest game of all time, or something.
Come on, Fingers. You can suffer for us. We're worth it, you know it.
Honestly, if I were to do it, it's not that hard to do. Like, I'm basically gonna cheat the game because the game cheats itself. But
fair enough. Very fair.
That's like my first playthrough of Elden Ring.
For starters, I'm not doing any of the fucking rings.
Yo, God, the rings.
Yes. No, the rings suck. And, well, they just suck.
Solve my maze, Superman.
Oh, I made a mistake. The leg is supposed... I made a mistake. So this happens.
Oh.
This happens. This is good that I made a mistake because that's a thing you need to see sometimes. So the leg is not supposed to go together on its own. It's supposed to clamp around the Dreadnought's body. So I need to unstick this guy. Well, that's good, but it happens. You know, that's a good thing to show that these things do happen. And it is also another reason why plastic glue being very forgiving about not drying instantaneously is advantageous here. So give me a moment to pry this loose. Done worse, believe it or not. One of my favorite... So I have a friend, an IRL friend who... a few Christmases ago, I got a Primaris starter kit. And he goes, so how goes the Primaris guys? And I built my first guy in Gravis armor. And I texted him and I said, it's going really well. I really like this kit. Although, fun fact, you should definitely put the head on when the instructions tell you to, and not after.
Boy.
And he framed that and put it above his model workbench.
wise words.
He's also the same one who always uses the Scotty meme on me. There was this one time in a group chat where I was trying to send a picture of Scotty from Star Trek as a GIF that said, "At this rate, things will never be unfucked." And it's a good GIF, but it would not embed. So I sent it several times, and it just kept on the still frame of Scotty looking at you judgmentally. And so now anytime I screw anything up, they just all start sending that exact image of Scotty looking disappointed. Okay, so I got it apart. See, it's not too hard when it's not dry. See what I'm supposed to do. Yeah, the first fight with Bowser's nothing. It's the second one where it gets tricky. So what I'm supposed to do, is put it here and then clamp the leg around it. That's what I'm supposed to do. I also love this boss music.
Yeah. Most of you probably already seen it, but on today's reason to be cynical about anything ever, this.
Yeah.
Oh no, really?
What?
Yes.
Oh no.
No.
That's disappointing. I'm not even a big Borderlands fan, really, but
Like,
Doing a cinematic universe out of anything is never a good idea. Like, what?
no, and yeah, it's a double dip of shit because it's Randall S. Pitchford making that announcement, and nothing but good comes out of his mouth.
Yep.
He's the
Truth.
he's the Ken Penders of Gearbox. Is that what that is?
shit, that is not an entirely inaccurate
I think it's
description.
worse.
You need to look up the squirting video debacle.
Yes. Oh god, yes. The
Okay,
medieval-
hold on. Nothing good ever comes out of someone recommending something.
He left
like
a
this.
USB behind at a what was it? One of those
a medieval Renaissance,
Renaissance
I think it was?
themed restaurants, and on it was business documents that should not have been leaked, and videos of someone squirting.
Yeah,
Yep.
Oh,
it's very classy.
as one does. Why would anyone carry this around to a restaurant? Is my question.
It just,
Because Randy Pitchford's an idiot.
I think
Yeah.
that's called addiction. I
and-
think that's called addiction.
He's also a greasy bastard. So,
Yep.
yeah.
Judging the distance is really hard on this fight.
This man is... He gives Bobby Kotick a run for his money.
That is an achievement, all right.
Oh yeah.
Especially when you're president of, like, Sexual Harassment Incorporated.
Yeah, Randy was one of the biggest reasons behind Duke Nukem Forever being all that
Oh no,
it
he was behind Duke Nukem Forever. He was behind Aliens Colonial Marines.
Oh yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
You
are we talking about?
A
Randy
video
Pitchford.
game.
Video
From,
games that he spearheaded that were
yeah.
disasters.
Yeah.
Who? What is he the head of?
He's the head of Gearbox Studio, the guys who do Borderlands and a bunch of other things.
Yeah. He's responsible for every shitty thing that's happened to Duke Nukem. Like, in recent years, every shitty thing that's happened with Aliens Colonial Marines.
Dude, you know what the saddest part of Colonial Marines was?
Yep.
So I think this is probably pretty well known, but the sad thing was the AI was so badly borked in that game that it was nearly
A
unplayable,
typo.
but they found that it was one typo. If you correct one character in the entire source code, it magically suddenly works.
Yeah.
I fucking love coding because of things like this, and I fucking hate coding because of things like this.
Yeah.
Dude, fingers, have you ever had those nights where, like,
Yes.
you're just tearing
I'm
your
just
hair
gonna
out?
say yes.
You go and everything looks, you don't know why it's not working. You go over it over and over and over, and the answer is usually simpler than you're making it.
Yes. I had a fun one actually, where I was wondering why, like my data, like I was doing something for work, and apparently my data was actually spewing out the wrong information, and I was wondering why. Until I looked at it and realized it's like I forgot to delete one of the columns when I updated one of the columns by adding a new line, but forgot to delete or comment out the old one it was replacing.
Oh boy.
So
No, I had one last year that was driving me nuts. We had a company that uses a thing called PID for their door security. They run like a very small private gym, and they have an app where you schedule your appointment, and then when it's your appointment, you go to the door and you go into the app, and there'll be a button that'll unlock the door to the gym, and then it'll take a picture of you to make sure you're not passing your ID around. And it works pretty well for the most part, but they called us once because they're like, hey, people are getting locked out. We're kind of unhappy. What's going on? And we found out that it was a problem with the PID service itself. It wasn't entirely our fault, but it was obviously our job to fix it because, you know, we're the ones that worked with their API. And I was looking at their database, and it was duplicating user entries. So users were having multiple entries. So when it was doing a database query, it was just grabbing one of the users and none of the data that was associated with the user proper because it was duplicating a new user. And it was driving me bonkers. And I looked at it, and it made no sense because there was a constraint on the table that should have kept every email unique. The database should have rejected anything that tried to add an email that was already in there. That's a basic function of a SQL database, you know? And I looked at it, and it was driving me absolutely nuts. And I found out what it was. They were not trimming their strings. It was entering emails with a space at the beginning or a space at the end and treating that as a new string.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that was literally it. It was that their forms on their back end, or on their not their back end, but their the member page, were just not trimming the strings. Dude, always trim and validate user input. Assume everything a user gives you is utter poison and garbage.
yeah, no, I do never trust them.
I actually remember learning in a security class, one of the things they taught us that first blew my mind about how people can crack computer systems was they actually taught us SQL injection.
Yeah.
And what that is where you go into like a web form or whatever, and you, using some formatting, you basically break the input and add in your own SQL code to mess with people's databases or to like try to get in or whatever.
Yeah. Usually you just put like a parentheses, close brackets, or close parentheses.
You use a quote. So you use a quote. You use a quote to break out of the variable. String. Yeah. Okay, so this ending has me asking questions. Have anyone actually stopped to think about how fucked up the idea of a stork delivering babies is? Like, I know that's like a weird thing to tell kids or whatever. Does anyone consider how nightmarish that actually is? Like, welp, your parents now. Here you go, losers. Like, did we get a say in this? Did we get them from Bezos? That raises its own questions.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, where did the babies? Where do babies come from if they're delivered by a stork?
Yeah. Or is it like a Pal World thing where they've got little slave monsters assembling babies? I mean, honest, I just don't. Raises a lot of questions.
Ah.
Well, we're on the topic of slave labor. Santa's workshop. How did that ever pass all the laws? Like, are the elves appropriately paid? Do they make the babies?
There's certainly a Holly Jolly Union attempt at some point, I would imagine.
Yeah, there's.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, this ending is nonsense because we have a sequel game that says, "Oh, the stork delivered it to the wrong house."
Yeah.
I hate that, by the way.
Oh,
so dumb.
We need to make another Yoshi's Island, guys. How do we do it?
The stork fucked up.
The stork fucked up.
Yeah. That's who the final boss should be. It should be the stork. You should be like, should find out that he did it on purpose, that he's just a misanthrope.